This is question 2C, and it's an extension on the question regarding a drought in the farming industry. And in this case, we're told that an economist has warned that milk prices as a result of the drought could increase by 20%, meaning a container of milk would be selling for around $3.60. And we're asked to draw a subsidy into the graph shown to ensure that milk stays at a $3 price, which is what it was before the potential impact of the drought. Now, there's a little trick there. Here, we're told that the graph shows the market after the effect of the subsidy. So you've got to be careful about that. After the effect of the drought. So the market's already moved. You can see it's at equilibrium here. It's already sitting at $3.60. There it is there. And you're asked to show a subsidy that will cause the market to stay where it was, which is right here at $3. So what we know for sure is that the new supply curve has got to cut the demand curve here, because that's just here, because that's where the market will return or will stay in a position of $3. So if we grab our line, what is that? That's I look for the vertical, whether it's a tax or a subsidy, I always look for the vertical distance. So that looks like from there to there, that's a drop of 80 cents from those two curves. So what we're going to be looking for then is a shift in 80 cents. I'll go down here, and 80 cents will take us to there. So if I get a parallel line through there, I shouldn't be too far off. Excuse my sniffing too, by the way. So there's S1, and that is the subsidy drawn, returning the market to a price of $3. Question D, which I've just added here to the right, then asks us for some calculations. So first of all, we want the value of the subsidy per 2 litre bottle. Well, I kind of pointed to that a moment ago when I said that it's always the vertical distance between the two curves is the value of the subsidy. So if we go the vertical distance there, you can see the gap between those two curves, or the gap at the origin down here, is 80 cents. So that would be an 80-cent subsidy causing the supply curve to shift into that new position. So we can put 80 cents in here. The next thing to look at is the change in consumer surplus. You can see in the original market illustration before the subsidy was given that the consumer surplus is here, the red area. Clearly we can't see the whole lot, and we don't need to be able to calculate the whole lot of the consumer surplus, because we're only asked for the change in consumer surplus. So what we can see is that if that was the original point there, then the addition to consumer surplus is this area here, additional to the old consumer surplus down to where the new equilibrium is. So that area there, so we need to be able to calculate that. Now, there's probably a number of ways to do it, but it seems to me that if I can calculate one of these blocks here, so that square there, let's do that square there. That's a square which is 20, 40, 60 cents, or 0.6, multiplied by 100 million. So let's do that. Well, it's actually all in millions, so that's going to be 60, isn't it? And then let's add million. So that's 60 million, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4 of those squares times 4, and then it looks like there might be half of one. So that's plus 30 million. So 4 6s are 240 million. Plus 30 million. And as you can easily see, or your calculator will tell you, that's 270 million. So let's go back and put that in. So the change in consumer surplus is 270 million. So the new producer surplus, the best way to understand where the new producer surplus is to understand where the subsidy is illustrated. And if you agree that the market now is at 500 and the subsidy is 80 cents, then over and above the new equilibrium position, which is there is a subsidy of 80 cents, so that's a vertical up there, 80 cents. And then obviously if we're doing all 500, then the subsidy would be shaded as such. It would be all this area, this green outline that I'm doing, and I'll only do the outline. Okay. So the addition to producer surplus is the top of this subsidy. So this is the extra bit that goes to producers. Now, what is that? Well, it looks like it's 20 cents. So it's a single block times 400. So it's 20 cents, or 0.20 times 400. And then there's a half of that as well. So then there's 10 cents times 100. And that's, of course, that's all in millions. So what have we got? So that's 80, and that's 10. So 90 million. So the addition to producer surplus looks as though it might be 90 million. And the total cost to the government, well, let's go and have a quick look. The total cost to the government is that green square I did, which is 80 cents times 500 million. 5/8 of 40. Let's just get that right. 80 cents, 500 times 80 is going to be 400 million. Gets a bit tricky, doesn't it, when you're using all these numbers, but let's go back, and that should be 400 million. Okay, there's your answer to that question.